Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Rental Regrets. As always, I am your host, Victor Nubb, and today we are looking at Hudson's Adventure Island 2, developed by Now Production and published by Hudson Soft and released in the United States in February of 1991. I don't know if this is specifically the game that I had checked out when I was a kid as a rental, or if it was Adventure Island 3. The reason why I have a hard time telling the difference is they play almost identical. The Adventure Island games that came out for the Nintendo, with the exception of everything after the first game, tended to be very similar in design. The big difference after the very first game was the fact that they added dinosaurs that you could acquire as an inventory item, kind of like Yoshi, and ride and use as an offensive weapon during your gameplay. The reason why we are looking at Adventure Island 2 as opposed to Adventure Island 3 is very simple. I bought this game, just like I do most games, on eBay when we're getting games for Rental Regrets. I think the total cost for this particular game was about $25 or $30 with shipping. The cost for a used copy of Adventure Island 3 starts at about $100 and goes up considerably depending on what additional items you want to get with the game. Why is it so much more expensive? I have no idea. It doesn't matter. I was not going to pay that much for a copy of Adventure Island 3. That would have been a little bit of overkill for a game that I was going to look at for about 20 minutes and then probably put on my shelf and never touch again. So we are looking at Adventure Island 2. The differences are very minor. I think they add maybe a single dinosaur companion that you can use during the third game, and I think you get an additional offensive weapon. I think in that game you get a boomerang. In this one you're stuck with just using your little stone throwing axe. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started and look at this game. There is another topic of importance that we're going to look at when I find the character that I want to show, but we will see that probably within the first level or two. This is something that I was not aware of when I found out about it and was shocked to learn about. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the game has an interesting mechanic where you move around like in a side-scroller type stage, and you have to collect food, usually in the form of fruit, bananas, oranges, strawberries, and we'll go to the next one. Pause. So before I go any further, I know I don't usually pause games to have a chat about something that I find interesting. Take a look at the snake on the screen there. The one that I am approaching. If you're like me, you saw that and went, hey, wait a minute, that looks very familiar. And I went and did a little bit of digging around some of my old video, particularly for the long play that I did for Monster Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. That was a Sega Master System game. And sure enough, that is the exact same model for Snake that they used in that game. So it got me thinking, did Hudson Soft steal some assets from a completely different company and use them in their own game? Well, it turns out that they did not. They had the rights to use that character, and let me explain. There was a little detail that I found out while digging around on the Wikipedia page for Adventure Island that I thought I would share here. Again, this is information sourced from Wikipedia. If you don't believe in following absolutely every single thing that they put in their articles, so be it. But I am going by what they said since I have a direct point of connection between the two games, as we can see on the screen here. This is under the development section in a subsection called Relation to Wonder Boy. Adventure Island began development as a direct port of the Sega arcade game Wonder Boy, the partial rights to which Hudson Soft obtained from developer Escape, now known as Westone Bit Entertainment. However, the developer had already signed away ownership of the Wonder Boy name and characters to Sega, so Hudson created a new protagonist modeled and named after Hudson Soft spokesman Takahashi Meijin. In the Western version of Adventure Island, the Takahashi Meijin character was renamed to Master Higgins. While the Wonder Boy series adopted an action RPG system for its sequels, beginning with Monster Boy and Wonderland, and we did see that in the long play that I did for Wonder Boy 3, most of the Adventure Island sequels stuck to the game system of the original Wonder Boy. Moreover, Hudson Soft also obtained the rights to port all of the Wonder Boy sequels to the TurboGrafx 16, changing the title and character designs of each game, with the exception of Wonder Boy 3 Monster Lair. Incidentally, the Japanese version of Dragon's Curse, the TurboGrafx 16 adaptation of Wonder Boy 3 The Dragon's Trap, was titled Adventure Island. So I found that quite interesting because that's one of those things where you don't expect to play a video game that you think, man, this is fun. I'd like to take a look at it briefly for the series that I run on games that I used to rent from video game stores, expecting to find out that it has a direct connection to a game that you used to love that you actually own for a completely different system made by a completely different developer. It's one of those weird coincidences that, for whatever reason, my child brain did not connect the dots on, and I just thought it was interesting because you never normally see that with video games. You don't find that two unrelated series have a very similar character, and the reason for that is some backstage developmental deals between two companies that allowed someone to have access to assets directly from another game. So, interesting little bit of lore, but anyway, let's go ahead and get going with the game again. So as I was saying before I got to the point that I wanted to discuss with you guys, the game has a unique mechanic in that you have a hunger system, that little bar at the very top there that kind of acts as a health system as well. And what you have to do is you have to pick up food as you play through, or else eventually you'll run out of health and die. Most of the food, I believe you have to either hop up and down around the screen to find it, or occasionally it will just appear in front of you while you're playing. And we'll grab that. I don't know what difference it makes. I think some of those eggs actually have items that you can use. But anyway, yeah, if you run out of health, you will lose your life, and then you have to start either from the beginning of the stage or from a checkpoint. Now, one of the interesting things about this game is everything that you pick up while you're playing, you can stash as an item by hitting the cancel button. And if you want to, you can just store any items and build up a nice little inventory to take into tougher areas. And, obviously, as you get later in the game, it makes a big difference if you're having a hard time getting past certain enemies that move around in difficult patterns, or you're getting overwhelmed by, the layout of the level. So, nice little thing that I don't think was in the very first Adventure Island game. Oh, I hear a secret door. I think I jump. Is it jump or... Oh, there we go. Hooray! I think this lets me skip the level? Oh, maybe not. Maybe it just lets me collect some extra fruit. Don't miss the jump! Oh. This is not as easy as it looks. You have to slow down on the higher springboards to make sure you hit the lower ones without overshooting them. So while I do like this game, and I did end up picking it up, obviously, to look at rental regrets, I would not say it's my favorite Adventure Island game. The title of favorite Adventure Island game definitely goes to one that we will look at possibly as a long play in the future. It's the Super Nintendo version of the game called Super Adventure Island 2. It was an upgraded version of those games that had a far more involved RPG-style gameplay, kind of like what they were talking about with the Wonder Boy series, but in the case of the Super Adventure Island game, they actually had unique abilities that you could pick up that were a lot similar to Adventure of Link. You could do up stabs, down stabs. There was an armor and weapon system, special magic that you could use. It's a very interesting game, and it is very different from the game that we're looking at here today. But yeah, it's a favorite. It did have some level design that made it difficult to figure out where important items were at times that I wasn't always a big fan of in some cases. But I do think it's a good game. Maybe they just made a few tiny mistakes in how they laid out some of the levels that were not terribly obvious. Maybe a little bit too, what's the word I'm looking for, obtuse. Alright, good. I think the dinosaurs count as an extra hit for your character, kind of like Yoshi would. And in this game, taking a hit from an enemy will kill you, I think, immediately. I don't believe you have health from that bar up top that you can use to tank damage. But thankfully I haven't taken a hit yet, so I don't know. I do believe if you hold, the run button, you do actually move faster, similar to Mario. And it is your attack button as well. This one. I haven't gotten a single item out of these eggs yet, so maybe it is just points. If I understand correctly, each island has a boss, and if you don't defeat them on the first try, you typically lose the chance to fight them because they move to another island, but I might be mistaken. Oh, careful. Give me a weapon. I don't know what that does. I honestly have no idea what this does. Oh! Oh, crap. I think it was burning my health down. Interesting. I don't know if that means it's going to be there again, and if that is the case, we want to jump over it, obviously, but I'm going to take an axe. Whee! Now get me again. I almost feel like you have to take an axe every single level, but at the same time, if you're always taking an axe, you can't add them to your inventory, so it's that risk and reward gameplay where you risk taking a hit and dying if you don't have a weapon with you. At the same time, you cannot add to an inventory to have them when you die by accident. So this one I obviously got oh, did I miss something? I thought I saw it hit an object or an invisible wall. Hello. I think Super Mario 3 probably did it the right way, where you could pick up items outside of the levels that you could store in your inventory, as opposed to this game where the only way, as far as I know, to get items, because we haven't found one from these eggs, is to pick them up in level. And if you already have an item, obviously it doesn't bank what you just picked up. Alright, so we're fighting a boss. I almost feel like I have to take one of these guys. I'll stash the axe since you don't need both to fight. I don't know if these are platforms. I'm going to have to assume they are. They are. I don't know what this does. Oh. Boy, I'm burning health fast here. Get out of here. Yeah, the game wants you to be kinetic. They want you to keep moving at all times. Ouch! I understand. The design is meant to be frenetic. You're supposed to keep moving. So he didn't move. I guess it didn't matter that much that I had not actually fought him. I'll just leave that. That's fine. I also don't know if having a dinosaur companion means that you are burning health faster. It almost seems like that was the case. In which case, obviously there was a drawback to having one, because it means you gotta run through the level a little bit faster to make sure you conserve your health. Oh, I thought I shorted that. Oh, look at this! He's spitting fireballs. I think it's better to crack it before I get to it. I got a pterodactyl. And he craps on enemies as an attack. Oh, no, you don't. I don't believe that in this game you can stomp on enemies like Mario. I think you have to hit them with your weapon or else you don't get to do anything. I also think this is crap, and I don't know why I had to get off the dinosaur to do this. Uh-oh. Don't die! Ah, man, I didn't know what they were going to do when they got there. Alright, yeah, see, so I don't know if I fight him or if he's no longer an option. That's a bummer, I lost my pterodactyl. Alright, we're just going to leave the axe this time. Pick up whatever I can in the levels. And we're just going to run. Woo! Now, of course, I mentioned that I did like the game Super Adventure Island 2, which begs the question, did I not like Super Adventure Island 1? I think it's okay. I also think it has the hallmarks of an early Super Nintendo game where the graphics, they really tried to pimp some of the special effects that they could do on the system, sometimes to the design detriment. You know, they really were big fans of giant character models in the Super Nintendo, or at least early on, because, look, there's no flicker when you put all these giant character models on screen, which is true. There was no flicker. On the downside, though, is the fact that I think the sound effects, as we mentioned in an episode of the... I keep saying it's a long play for the game I'm doing right now, Soul Blazer. The sound effects, it sounded like they had a very basic set of sounds that were given to all devs for their dev kits to use to create soundtracks. And I don't know, there always feels like there is a set of sounds that were meant to mimic actual instruments that got heavy use very early on in the Super Nintendo's lifespan in games that were developed early on. And that game is pretty guilty of that as well. I think there is a lot of, I think, horns that get used in that are sound very generic. And I don't know, it's just always stuck in my mind as something that has not aged well. But hey, maybe when we get to look at that game in an episode of... I think we'll have to do it as Rental Regrets, because I used to own it, but I think I gave that game to my mother at some point. But it's one of those things where I think the soundtrack may be hit or miss, but mostly miss. Yeah, see, I didn't fight the boss here. I got a bunch of points. Oh, now I'm going back to the boss. Maybe he just moves. So what does that mean? I'll take a dinosaur. I want that extra hit to tank hits from enemies. Yeah, interesting. Looks like the same level, only more of a late evening background color. Oh, I thought I hit him. Didn't see another item there anywhere. I wonder if they're going to make me hop off the dinosaur like they did with the pterodactyl. They did. I don't get that. Is it to give me an extra offensive option, or to make it so that I have to tank a hit? Or I don't get to tank a hit with my dinosaur? Or worst of all, maybe it means that I can lose him if he touches one of these little discs, whatever they are. He doesn't seem to take any damage yet. Alright, cool. I was worried I was going to die before we get off the first island. What difference does it make on the next couple of islands that we're going to see? If we see them at all? I don't know. Looks like they have different biomes. And there's a giant hermit crab I gotta fight at the end of the area. Alright, so let's ditch that. See if we can pick something up early. There you go. Look at that. Save myself an axe. Uh-oh. I hear my axe is hitting something. Thought I did. Boy, I don't know what happened on this island, but a lot of animals died. That was certainly a decision they made. Show all these dead animals under the ground I'm walking on. I'm also noticing that even though it's called Lake Island, I have yet to see any water in this level, except for a tiny stream I think I jumped over. I don't know if this was before the time that you could actually swim as Master Higgins or not. I guess we'll find out if I jump into a water area coming up here. I know in the Super Adventure Island games, I think they gave you the option to swim. No. Let's see if we can't find anything in this area early again. Noticing that the level design here doesn't seem to have changed a ton from the first area, which seems a little bit of a rip. There we go. Whoa! Hey! Sneaky guy. Keeping me on my toes. Yep. Cool. I definitely hit one when I was testing the game where the game didn't make me go over these little springboards. It actually just let me skip the island I was on altogether, which is interesting. I don't know if that's something that they all can do, or if it's randomized, or if you had to hit a certain score amount, or what, but it was something I was expecting to see at some point here, and we haven't hit it. I think, yeah, you can hit those rocks, but I think they take off some of your life when you do that. Your stamina? Whatever those buttons are at the top of the screen. It's very disappointing that all you're getting out of those eggs is points. I would have thought they would have put an item in each one of them. Screw the difficulty balance. Give me items. Ah, look at that. We do go underwater. Interesting. I'm going to keep the axe. Definitely a far cry from the controls of Super Mario. You don't have to jam on the jump button in order to swim. You just hold it and he goes up. I have no idea why it looks like those fish are swimming upside down. Or why on an island chain that seems to be full of nothing but prehistoric animals and regular animals, there are a bunch of what looks like sea mines. Although I guess the follow-up question is, why does it appear that there is... Okay, don't do that. I'm dead, aren't I? Ah, come on, game. I have no idea why on an island chain where there's so much prehistoric life and absolutely no technology, Master Higgins has a baseball cap. Or the ability to build and ride a skateboard, complete with a protective helmet. Anachronisms? What are they? Tell you, the abundance of delicious edible food under the water, though, astonishing. I'm guessing the ceiling is dangerous to all touch. I'm also guessing if I die here, we may have to call it an episode. Already been 25 minutes. Unbelievable. Time flies when you're having fun. Come on, give me an actual item one time. Nothing. There's another item that I found during my initial playthrough just to test the cartridge that we haven't found yet. And if we do find it, I'm going to have to point out that as another item that I think maybe they got a little bit thieving about. Not sure how else to say it. They stole an idea from another game and or developer. Maybe we'll luck out and find it here. I don't know. Oh. Okay. Load and jump again. There we go. Boy, I am just a monster to those pigs. Just minding their own business. Okay, alright, made it. Come on. Hit it, I need that meat! Oh no, we're in trouble. I need some food! I starved. So is that over? Do I have to restart the game? Now they say continue, so I'm on to the second island. Interesting. Do I lose all my items? I lose all my items. Alright, I think we'll play for another couple of minutes here to hopefully find the last item that I was hoping to see before the end here to point out another case of possible plagiarism. Can't make any promises because I did find it in either the first or second level of the game that I had gone to, and haven't found it since, so I guess the items are in some aspect randomized. Nope, didn't get him. Whoa. Gotcha. Alright, done. Well, just in case we don't actually find the item that I'm hoping to see before the end here, I'll just go ahead and say it. So in the episode of Nub's Collection that we did for the Mickey Mousecapade game, there was an item in that game that you would find that had no specific name, but it was very clearly meant to be like a Tinkerbell type item that gave you invulnerability, like picking up a star in Super Mario. This game has a very similar functioning item where you pick up a fairy that makes you invincible until it leaves the screen. I'm starting to think that Hudson Soft did not like to do things on the level. Maybe they just stole things that they thought were good ideas. I'm fairly certain this game came out after that one, so... Oh, no! I want that item! Ah, I can't go backwards. Oh, now I can. Oh, there we go. Got another key. So what is it going to let me do? Oh, another springboard area. Woo! Oh! That's right. Those are An interesting idea that's not terribly fun to do. Oh, I got a Loch Ness monster. What's the name of them? Plesiosaurs? He also doesn't seem to actually do anything other than... Oh, I thought I had an item. Other than let me ride on him. Maybe he'll be useful in the water. Just give me the points. You never give me anything good, game. So we're going to get rid of the axe, but we're going to keep the plesiosaur. With the hope that he does something different in the water. He does not. Well, this was a terrible mistake. Alright, I need you to swim up so I can go under you. He does move very fast, so that, I guess, is a benefit. Although I can't defend myself, so... There's pros and cons. But, ooh! Nice. My favorite. Watermelon. Get out of here. Yeah, it seems like all the plesiosaur does is he just makes you move faster because he controls exactly the same as Master Higgins. I think I was a little bit of a swing and a miss there on Hudson Soft's part. What was the developer's name? I already forgot. Oh, I lost him! That's probably alright, because I don't think there was another water level in this area. Which I will find out is absolutely not true when I run into the next area, and it is completely water-based. In the woods, no less. Yeah, just go ahead and keep the axe. Come on, give me that sweet, sweet fairy magic, wherever it is. Gotcha. Cool. I think there is a balance to be struck for games that actually withstand the test of time as far as difficulty and the ability to progress in a way that's fun if you're just playing it for the first time versus, you know, having to come back repeated times to get anywhere in the game. I would say this is doing a very good job of hitting that balance because, of course, I did die, but they gave you the ability to continue even though I lost all the items in my inventory. That's something that I think quite a few of the games, hey, one up, that we've looked at in Nub's collection and some even in Rental Regrets that was just not very well hit, or struck rather. Quite a few games where you die way too easily and you lose absolutely all of your progress and they're just not fun to continue playing. It's something that I don't know if developers really figured out at all on the Nintendo, and I would say not even really on the Super Nintendo all the way. I think they started getting a lot better, but again, I think part of that is the notion that developers were still operating on the arcade style of business model where you want to make a game that people lose very quickly because that means they have to pump more quarters in the machine. You don't want someone to beat the game in 30 minutes and never put another quarter in your machine. You want them to keep paying that money. So that's how you get the cash out of those arcade cabinets, which were, I imagine, not terribly cheap or easy to produce in mass quantities. No! Oh boy. I should have seen that coming. Alright, I want to get to the second boss, and then we'll try to call it, or we'll call it an episode if I can get to the second boss, and if I can't, we'll end it wherever I end up. Ooh, guess that worked out better than I thought it would. Alright, let's bat that egg back in the other direction so it doesn't get stuck in the wall, if I can help it. So not that way. I want it to go this way. That didn't give me anything of use. I don't think I've gotten to the egg I was looking at earlier yet. Yeah, this is where I was at when I died. And the egg was back this way. Right here. So let's do it again. No, I missed! And then I burned myself alive. At least the death animation was unique there. Well, let's take the axe. I don't know if enemies respawn in this game. We have not had a whole lot of opportunity to go backwards in a level at this point. I suppose the idea behind how the stamina meter works in this game is sound. You're obviously doing a lot of hopping around on platforms and running at full speed, chucking in a stone axe that's probably very heavy as hard as you can so that it kills whatever it hits. I'm surprised more games don't do that. Where you have a system where you gotta either eat or take a break just to recover your stamina. Of course, that would probably destroy the flow of most games, and even my favorite developer realized, from software that is, that if you have a stamina meter and you're going to use that to base the ability that you have to fight back or dodge out of the way, if it takes forever to regenerate that stamina, the game's not going to be fun. So they had to find a way to strike that perfect balance. Get out of here, kid. Whoa! Some delicious sea carrots. Come on. Not seeing a lot of food, and that's very worrying. There we go. I'm gonna have to start just racing to get to the end of the level. I don't remember if I even had a health bar when I got to the boss, which would be a problem. Because if you have one and you don't have any health, that would be a disaster. You get in there and immediately die from, I guess, starvation. And Master Higgins, he doesn't look like he is in the best shape of his life, so I'm guessing that means he's hungry all the time. Yeah, sure, this is the last fight. Keep it all. And I am underwater again. Oh. Ah, very good. I think that meat gives me my full stamina back. Or gives me full stamina, period. No! Oh, he killed my plesiosaur. Tell him, please don't kill my please. Alright, boss fight. And I have no extra buddy to do anything, even though I don't know what he would do here in the first place, because he can't attack. You gonna do anything, or just stand there? Yeah, no health bar. That. Nope. Oh, oh, I'm stuck in the bubble. Can I get out? Can I get out of the bubble? I can't get out of the bubble! Ah, screw you, game. Okay, well, as much as I would love to go to the next area and see what's going on with the volcano there, I think we're going to go ahead and call it there. Just final thoughts on the game. I do think it still has a fun mechanic where you find items in the game and you can bank them if you believe that you'll be able to get it through the next area without them, with the chance to pick up more items that you can just add to a growing inventory and access at your pleasure. And the levels, I mean, they're challenging. They're not unfair. I don't feel like anything that happened here wasn't a result of my misplay versus, bad design on the developer's part. I would say that it would have been nice to add more offensive options when you're not on a dinosaur, because they just had the three that we found that had offensive weaponry. One shot a spark, one shot a very similar fire, and then the pterodactyl that just seemed to crap on enemies. But other than that, all you had to fight with when you're not on a dinosaur was a stone axe. I do know that in a future game they allowed you to access boomerangs. Would have been nice if we could have checked that out, but not a big deal. I do think it's still fun. The music's nothing to write home about. The graphics are, about as good as you can expect on a Nintendo. They were never state-of-the-art, really. Even in the few instances where I have praised games for their graphics, you're still talking pixel art, and back then, they were happy to be able to do what they could with the limited number of sprites and colors that they could use at any given time on a Nintendo video game. As far as my regret, I think I do regret not just outright buying this sooner. It is a fun game, and I'm sure I would have enjoyed going back to it when I was a kid. Just, have something to play that I would be able to get progress in and play for more than 30 minutes before I got frustrated and quit because, the challenge was too high or the penalty for losing a life too steep. This is still a fun game. So yeah, I regret not buying it. Don't regret not buying Adventure Island 3 for $100 used. I think that's one of those ones where if they have a collection somewhere on another system, that would be the way that I would look at it, as opposed to trying to buy an actual Nintendo cart, because that is way too much to pay for a Nintendo game. Super Nintendo, completely different story. I'm sure we'll go into that when we get to those games in earnest, instead of these little sneak peeks that we've been doing over the last couple of months here. But that's going to do it for this episode of Rental Regrets. As always, I do appreciate each of you watching, and I will see you next time.